U.S. funds that were appropriated to help fund the Ukraine war have somehow wound up in the hands of a mining company extracting cobalt in Idaho. We'll get to that, but in case you missed it, something big has happened recently in Idaho. And I mean really big. Yet another potential land grab with deep, twisted roots that lead back to, yes, you guessed it, Bill Gates. Idaho Department of Water Resources issued a curtailment order on May 30th that required 6,400 junior groundwater rights holders who pump off the Eastern Snake Plain aquifer to completely shut off their water. That order affected about 500,000 acres of agricultural land in eastern Idaho. The United States has killed 4.5 million chickens and thousands of cattle, and now they're even trying to destroy farms in Idaho by turning off their water at the start of summer. They have sold hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland to China and hundreds of thousands of acres to Bill Gates. They literally are destroying our food supply right in front of our very eyes. Idaho State Representative Stephanie McAlson said, "You're talking about wiping out family farms and other businesses across the AG sector. It's basically a draconian way to bring about what they need." So, is Bill Gates stealing more land?
Did you know that Bill Gates is the largest private owner of farmland in the U.S.? He owns 270,000 acres. What does the computer boy want with all that land?
Bill Gates has purchased more farmland in Idaho and is the largest farm owner in the United States next to Chinese investors. They say who controls the food controls the people. Let's also note that Bill Gates grows a ton of potatoes. The largest grower in competition to his product is Idaho potato farmers. Look at this article. McDonald's French fries, carrots, onions, all of the foods that come from Bill Gates' farmland. His reach is enormous. His control, scary. Americans are outraged, calling for an investigation into Bill Gates and what exactly he's doing with the nearly 300,000 acres of American land that he's purchased. Perhaps you've already seen the rubbery fruit that's been trending on social media lately.
For some mysterious reason, in the past few months, there's been loads of videos popping up all over social media of people buying what looks like fake food. It all started just a couple of weeks ago in the United States when several people started noticing that there was something off about the watermelon that they were buying on the supermarkets.
So I got this watermelon up, and I like to rinse my watermelon before I cut it, and it's like pinning. Does anybody has problems with their watermelon like this? Oh my gosh.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It sounds like the goat is dying.
There are dozens of videos where people buy watermelon from the supermarket and it looks strange. Sometimes it looks like plastic, sometimes it makes these weird noises, and sometimes, or many times actually, it feels as if it's made out of rubber.
So I cut watermelon for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. And I've seen enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon. The texture is so weird. Like, you gotta bend it so far before it will break.
But it wasn't just rubbery. There was something else about the watermelon that was bothering a lot of people.
Okay, y'all. I threw this watermelon out over a week ago. It smelled really good. Bought it from Walmart. Cut it open, and it was like plastic. Tasting it was absolutely horrible. I didn't really know what to do with it, so I threw it outside. This is a week later. It looks like mud. What's going on?
It was pretty obvious that there was something off about the watermelon and a lot of people were noticing it. But here's the thing, it wasn't just the watermelons.
There you go.
People were also noticing the same thing happening with avocados, blueberries, bananas, and the list goes on.
We got it from the supermarket, but when she opens it and she breaks it in half, it gets very tough and doesn't really break. And when it pulls, it's like it's glue. It's very tight and doughy. It looks very, very fake and Play-Doh.
In this next video, Ari Osborne explains how she bought blueberries in the supermarket. When she gave it to her kid, she noticed that one of them looked like it was made out of rubber. Check this out.
It's left in her little bowl and I put it down the drain for the garbage disposal. And I push the button, you know, it's doing its thing, but there's a clanking and it sounds like something's stuck. So I go in the drain and there's a blueberry that's not breaking apart. It's not, I pick it up and why is there a rubber blueberry in my toddler's snack?
She cut it in half and it actually looks as if it's made out of silicone or something like that. Strange, isn't it? But it gets even stranger. In this next video, a woman tests out the food in the supermarket using a magnet, and this is what happens.
Look at this shit. Put a magnet that I got from here into the great chicken. Let's try for look at that shit. Not bad.
After these videos were posted and became a viral sensation, it made a lot of people ask the same question. Are we possibly eating fake food? What's your take?
Let's take a look now at what his appeal treatment is doing to the food that folks are purchasing in grocery stores.
Today we're going to talk about Bill Gates' appeal and if it's safe. I did a pretty thorough research on Google to see if it was safe, and as I was reading the pages, it looked really safe until I took one additional look at the ingredients of this appeal, and one of the things that was listed is his 99.34% of this product is listed as other ingredients. Other ingredients? It doesn't tell you what's in it. So right there is a big red flag. There's no transparency. There's a lot of problems with this product. You know, we don't know if they added carrageenan in there, which creates a lot of problems for people. And some of the other edible coatings that they use are things like beeswax, which I think is a lot better, but they also use like shellac. I mean, don't they use shellac in woodworking, staining, or sometimes they'll put that on your nails? Is that safe? So I learned a lot about these coatings that they're apparently putting on our fruits and vegetables, especially if you bring these fruits or vegetables home and you want to clean them off, right? So if you have this appeal coating around it, how are you going to take the pesticides out if it's conventional? You might want to just buy fruits or vegetables that don't have this coating, and yes, they might go bad a little bit quicker, but at least you can wash them off with something more natural.
Let's listen to what this professor had to say about Mr. Gates.
I think Bill Gates has done more damage to the world's health than probably any other individual, aided and abetted by Tony Fauci.
So, once again, Ukraine aid is funding the water wars on the farmers in Idaho. Take a look.
Do you wonder where all the Ukraine money is going? Well, it looks like we've started a thread to pull. Idaho is trying to shut off water to 500,000 acres of farmland, 781 miles. But there's been plenty of rain this spring, so that's not it. They say it's due to water reserves underground, that it's projected to deplete at a too fast of a rate to preserve water supply. They need to shut off the water to 500,000 acres of Idaho farmland. But the Continuing Appropriations and Ukraine Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2023 approved $4.5 billion for direct financial support to the government of Ukraine, or so they said. Jervois Global Limited enters an agreement for $15 million for information on drilling at its Idaho cobalt mine, utilizing funds from the additional Ukraine Supplemental Appropriations Act. Why is money for direct financial support for the government of Ukraine being rerouted by the Department of Defense to a cobalt mine in Idaho? Cobalt used in batteries for your phones, computers, electric cars. There are countless valuable usages for cobalt. Any side effects of cobalt we should be aware of, considering we use it in everything? Cobalt exposure triggers impairments in cognitive and anxiety-like behaviors, brain oxidative stress, and inflammation. And do you know what's a necessary component of cobalt mining in mass? Guessed it, water. Lots of water. On May 31st, 2024, Idaho Department of Water announced shutting off water to 500,000 acres of farmland. June 21st, 2024, Jervois Cobalt Mine can start drilling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Idaho is shutting off water due to a shortage at the same time the cobalt mine is set to start operating 24/7. and it's Ukraine's funding bill, one of many, that gave $15 million to Jovois to restart operations after losing money. Couple of things to look further into. How many members of Congress have a financial interest in this cobalt mine? My initial research, a lot. Also, is it linked to the CHIPS Act, where they gave Micron a fistful of money to start manufacturing in Idaho? And are they trying to destroy crops so they can take the land and mine more cobalt, or is it purely to control the water supply? I was just in Idaho, absolutely beautiful state filled with great people. And the government shows up with the government gun and forces their will. Again, maybe it's just a coincidence and I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Perhaps. But one fact remains absolutely true. Money that we were told was going to Ukraine is not. There is no coincidence.
Let's go back to 2022, when mining in the exact same area was causing problems then as well. We're going to read this article from ABC News with the headline, Idaho Cobalt Mining That Devastated Local Water Revisited with Greener New Approach. The Salmon Chalice National Forest covers 4.3 million acres of rolling mountains covered in trees, rivers, and wildlife living in the largest wilderness area in the United States. Underneath the surface lies the Idaho Cobalt Belt, one of the country's only large deposits of the critical mineral key to the lithium-ion batteries that power our phones, laptops, and increasingly our vehicles. Cobalt mining abandoned this mountain range decades ago. After one mine caused devastating effects on the local environment and an entire town, a mountain range in Idaho is now seen as a key location in the country's move towards renewable energy sources. Australian company Gervois is poised to restart mining in the Salmon Chalice National Forest. They're looking for cobalt they mine to be used in rechargeable batteries in devices such as electric vehicles, power storage containers, and other clean energy technology. Matt Lengerich, the executive general manager for Gervois Mining Limited, a company that is undertaking the project, told ABC News that the endeavor is important for the country's goal to reduce the use of fossil fuels. We're going to continue to see technology advances, especially in batteries and in better battery chemistry. That I have no doubt. But even with all of those advances, we're still going to need sustainably supplied cobalt. Matt Green, a project manager for Trout Unlimited, told ABC News that the previous mining was done without much oversight or federal environmental laws, and that the metals left exposed by the mine's open pit and underground tunnels left behind allowed toxic metals to flow into nearby rivers and streams. They completely turned the stream upside down as the big machine went in there, turned the stream upside down and blocked the whole stream off to get those precious metals. And then what was left were just these big piles of rock that the water just randomly flowed through. It was very unnatural, no riparian, no trees. In the early 90s, the federal government shut down the Blackbird mining operation after it discovered the local water and ground supply was polluted. In 1992, the Blackbird site became an EPA Superfund site, and work has been done to restore the water and local grounds. Woods said environmentalists are still picking up the pieces left behind by Blackbird 30 years later. We've had populations of salmon, local populations of salmon, go extinct from the impacts of mining, Wood said. Wood reiterated that it's going to take decades to clean up the waters and the rest of the ecosystem from the previous cobalt mining, but she had optimism that the latest project could go on without setting their restoration efforts back. And while the ecological devastation from the old mine is still fresh, a changing economy and increased calls to decrease fossil fuels has pushed companies and the federal government to restart mining. Lengerich boasted his company's new technology and mining processes, contending that those 21st century advances, along with new government regulations, will minimize the impact on the surrounding area, fauna, and flora compared to previous mining operations. At the end, as all of this gets filled, we cap that portal, we put the slope back, and we revegetate it, and nobody will ever know we were here, he said. The company aims to produce 2,000 tons of cobalt a year, which represents 10% of the U.S. demand for the new batteries. Cobalt is deemed critical by the U.S. government because of its use in batteries. President Joe Biden has been pushing to mine for it domestically instead of importing it from other nations. Do you think this is going to go as well as they say, or is this going to be another 30-year environmental disaster? Let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to catch you on the next one.